We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Trump signs a series of executive orders on day one, pulls the US out of World Health Organization and Paris Climate Accord, pardons the nearly all charged in January 6th Capitol riot, says TikTok should be 50% owned by the US.
The right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it.
Donald Trump promises golden age for US as he takes office as 47th president, repeals over 78 executive orders signed by his predecessor Joe Biden, including those supporting racial equity and combating discrimination against gay and transgender people. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the world leaders to offer congratulations to Donald Trump for the second term. Ukraine, Russia, hope of just peace. Israel says best yet to come. Trump reiterates intent to take back Panama Canal, purchase Greenland and tariffs on neighbors, says Denmark will come along on Greenland even as Panama refutes any concessions on the matter, adds could impose 25% tariffs on Canada, Mexico on the 1st of February. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel. Tense calm prevails on the third day of a truce in the territory. And World Economic Forum annual meeting underway in Davos. Ukraine-Russia conflict, Trump 2.0 and the rise of artificial intelligence in focus. India's Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw to attend the meet. On to the details now. US President Donald Trump signed a number of executive orders aimed at undoing many of the policies implemented by the Biden administration. Soon after his swearing in, Trump signed an order to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement for a second time. The US president followed this by signing a formal letter to the United Nations notifying the global body of the country's intent to leave the landmark 2015 Accord, which seeks to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions driving climate change. Well, Donald Trump signed an order for the United States to exit the World Health Organization, which he had previously attacked over its COVID response. Signing the order at the White House, Trump said the United States was unfairly paying less than China into the UN body and added, World Health ripped us off.
We paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. Not when you're being ripped off like we are by the World Health. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore.
Well, Trump has pardoned about 1,500 participants in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters trying to overturn the 2020 election. Trump said that 6 defendants would have their sentences shortened. The move fulfilled a campaign promise by Trump to aid supporters who were charged and in many cases imprisoned for crimes committed during the riot, a failed attempt to stop the congressional certification of Democrat Joe Biden's 2020 election victory.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
Well, Trump also signed an executive order seeking to delay by 75 days the enforcement of a ban of popular short video app TikTok that was slated to be shuttered on January 19th. Trump said U.S. should get 50% of ownership of the platform.
Just gave me the right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make that determination. And we may have to get an approval from China too, I'm not sure. But I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, it would be somewhat of a hostile act, I think. But it's
Well, Trump also signed an executive order requiring federal workers return to the office full-time. The measure was one of several executive orders Trump signed during a public event at an arena in Washington attended by thousands of his supporters. The measure requires employees to return to work in person at their respective duty stations on a full-time basis, provided that the department and agency heads shall make exemptions they deem necessary. Trump also revoked a 2023 executive order signed by Joe Biden that sought to reduce the risks that artificial intelligence poses to consumers, workers, and national security. Well, a number of other orders were also signed in front of supporters inside the arena in Washington, D.C. The orders included the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, a freeze on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories until full control of the government is achieved. Also, a regulatory freeze preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations, a directive to every department and agency in the federal government to address the cost of living. Also, a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech. A directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive action to create an advisory group called the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. The advisory group, being run by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, is aimed at eliminating entire federal agencies and cutting 3/4 of federal government jobs. Trump tapped billionaire entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy to head Department of Government Efficiency alongside Musk, but Ramaswamy has reportedly decided to step aside and run instead for governor of the Midwestern state of Ohio. And for more, we have Anil Thomas joining us. Well, Anil, a series of executive orders was signed by Donald Trump in the first round, and he said, and I quote, "Our sovereignty will be reclaimed, our safety will be restored, the scales of justice will be rebalanced. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before." Could you elaborate on this and the possible implications as his policies will be potentially transformational?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. Well, very much, Trump sticking to the dream of America first, that was a part of his political campaign, extending it, especially in the first day, his first day as president, the presidential order that he's brought about, clearly indicative of taking forward all the things that he's promised, putting pen to paper, rubber on the road, if one may say, to put it in the Texas way. When it comes to delivering the promises that he's made. And I think he's stuck his neck out. Remember, we've seen Trump 1.0. It was a bit unconventional. It was a bit different. So people can expect, what Trump will bring to the table. But this time around, he also seems to be bold and aggressive in his approach, especially the first day as he took oath. He seemed to be multidimensional. He's looking at not repeating the mistakes that he's made. And his first move, especially when it comes to, cancelling the orders that the Biden administration has given. One, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord, and also with regards to the soft stance that he's taken on TikTok, clearly leaves Trump and the world, Trump's decisions and the world's view to it, pretty mixed. If you see Trump's especially strong stance on pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, looking at more of drilling that America would see, the energy crisis that the world and America in particular faces. So clearly it's indicative of something different and something that Americans need to look forward to. First, to tame inflation. Secondly, to bring down the cost of living. That has been primary concern of Trump administration, and I think he looks forward to take that forward. On a world perspective, yes, it leaves the world very much on the edge when it comes to what to expect. The first presidential order does not make much mention of tariffs, because he's promised 10% to 60% of tariff. That's not at least pen on paper when it comes to that particular decision. But we'll have to wait and watch. Trump has been a bit unpredictable even in his in his first term as president. You don't expect things to change, especially when it comes to the awe factor that he brings to the table. And I think we will. It's still not there, especially on the immigration as well as on the trade tariffs. But we can expect it to come in the next few days.
Right, Anil. Also, the stock market analysts are expecting many sweeping changes in the energy sector on withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. What do you have to say about that?
Well, at least the first impact that, the presidential or Trump taking over as president, you've seen a drop in the oil prices, though not significant, but there has been a slight dip in the oil prices. And I think one thing that the world needs to look forward to is, what does Trump bring to the table now? It could be disruptive. Some experts say it could be disruptive, but I think America first will also, be somewhere Trump understands the importance of taking the world along. You can make America first, but you also need to take the world along. And I think that's what will be even more significant, especially from the Trump administration. You'll have to, walk the talk in the first place. And also you will have to handhold the world. Remember, it's the world's largest economy, and it's also got the geopolitical coin, especially when it comes to decisions that America takes that impacts the world. So having said that, they know that how powerful they are. Trump knows that he's got the backing of the Senate and the Congress, especially when it comes to two houses there in America, the Congress in America. And he clearly knows that the responsibilities that is there on the shoulder. So it's taking forward things that were left unfinished, especially when it comes to the decision that he's taken on TikTok. If one clearly looks at that particular decision on TikTok that he's spoken about, a leeway that's been given. See, there has been almost 9 months since, there's been a Congress decision, especially on, buy it or sell it kind of a deal that was there. There are still no takers for TikTok. And ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, has clearly not been also receptive to the idea of selling it. But having said that, Trump has found a middle way. He's given them a window. He's spoken about 50% of the sale, or 50% of the stake coming to an American or one of the tech wizards. It's clearly, he set the ball rolling, especially when it comes to how the decisions are going to be, how the decisions are going to some kind of leeway where, no player on the table is feeling somewhere left out or cheated. And I think that leaves all the countries looking forward to America, or the decisions that America is going to bring forward, whether in terms of tariffs, whether in terms of immigration, with a lot of hope. Remember, countries would have A, B, C, D plans looking at the Trump administration. But his stance has been aggressive, but it's been on the home front, not on the international front. We'll have to wait and watch how that particular international, especially, harsh step that he's spoken about on the international fronts, is he going to take it? And if he takes it, what's the middle path that he finds?
Absolutely, Anil. He set the ball rolling. Thank you so much for all those details. And moving on, Donald Trump also revoked sanctions imposed by the former Biden administration on far-right Israeli settler groups and individuals for allegedly committing violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Trump rescinded Executive Order 14115 issued on February 1st, 2024, which authorized the imposition of certain sanctions on persons undermining peace, security and stability in the West Bank. Trump greeted the family members of Israeli hostages at his Inauguration Day parade. He told them that the October 7th attack and Israel-Hamas conflict never would have happened under his watch.
And to the former hostages with us today, welcome. Welcome home. Some of the folks are former hostages. Not a good situation. The three young ladies that came home yesterday, you saw that. More coming home every day now. They're coming home. And you're witnessing the dawn of the golden age of America. That's what it's going to be. We're bringing it back. We're going to bring it back fast. We're going to bring it back fast.
Well, earlier, congratulating Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the best days of their alliance are yet to come.
Together again, we will raise the U.S.-Israel alliance to even greater heights. I'm confident that we will complete the defeat of Iran's terror axis and usher in a new era of peace and prosperity for our region. On behalf of the people of Israel, I also want to thank you for your efforts in helping free Israeli hostages. I look forward to working with you to return the remaining hostages, to destroy Hamas's military capabilities and end its political rule in Gaza, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel. I'm sure, Mr. President, that under your leadership, the best days of our alliance are yet to come.
Well, in a statement, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said they are ready to work with Trump to achieve peace during his term based on a two-state solution. And for more on this, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, while congratulating Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu said he believes the best days of the US-Israel alliance are ahead. Will Trump see eye to eye with Netanyahu as he returns to the White House? What can we expect?
Well, the statements that have come from the Israeli Prime Minister clearly hint at the kind of closer ties that Israel is looking at building with U.S. at this point in time, especially when we have seen that Israel has been at war with Hamas as well as Hezbollah for the last 15 months. And just ahead of Trump inauguration, we saw how a ceasefire was finally implemented. So that is a good sign. But Israel has also said that it remains ready for restarting any kind of conflict, and they remain all prepared as far as any conflict is concerned. So there clearly Israel also hinting at forging even closer ties with the U.S. government under Trump. So the statement clearly says that the next days the Israeli Prime Minister or the Israeli government will be thriving, improving the relation with the U.S. And will be forging a stronger bond with the country, given the kind of conflicts that have been growing up in the region for the past 15 months to 2 years. And even in the case of any resumption of hostilities, the U.S. should be supporting the government of Israel as well as the military efforts that they have carried out so far.
All right, Akshay. Also, Netanyahu thanked Trump for his role in pushing for the ceasefire hostage release deal in Gaza, and is expected to visit Washington to meet Trump as early as next month. Any updates on that?
Well, the timeline are still being scheduled as far as the meeting of heads of state with the U.S. president is concerned. But clearly, the statements that have been coming in from Netanyahu are also political in nature, because even the democratic setup under Joe Biden was quite helpful as far as the military efforts of Israel are concerned. And now under Trump, with Trump hinting at even closer ties with the Israeli government as well as the Israeli state for their security, the Israeli government will try its best to forge a closer tie with the U.S. administration under Donald Trump. So as of now, it is expected that the Israeli Prime Minister will be meeting Donald Trump. The timelines are yet to come out. The official dates are yet to be announced. But we can expect, both the heads of the states, both Israel Prime Minister and the U.S. President to meet quite soon, given the fact that Donald Trump, even before taking the office and during the election campaign as well, has hinted that he will be forging closer ties with Israel. And in fact, the statement that he had made that the Middle East will have hell to pay if the hostages aren't released. So the Israeli government now are banking on Donald Trump to provide even a stronger safety net to the country as far as the threats are concerned. Back to you.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for all those details. Well, other leaders from around the world are also offering congratulations and urging good relations with the mercurial leader. Here are some of the first reactions after Trump took the oath of office for the second term. In a social media post, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi called Trump as dear friend and congratulated on the historic inauguration as the 47th President of the United States. Prime Minister Modi said he looks forward to working closely together once again to benefit both countries and to shape a better future for the world. And in a video posted on X, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Trump's new tenure offered an opportunity for true peace.
Right now, there is a good opportunity for this. The inauguration of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, he's a strong person. I wish President Trump and all of America success. Ukrainians are ready to work with Americans to achieve peace, true peace. This is an opportunity that must be seized.
Well, congratulating Trump, and Russian President Vladimir Putin said he was open to dialogue with the new U.S. administration on the Ukraine conflict. He added that the goal should be a lasting peace based on respect for the legitimate interest of all people. While Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stressed Canada and the United States are the world's most successful economic partnership. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese also took on X to congratulate Trump on his inauguration. In her congratulatory message, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni cited a role for Italy in consolidating the dialogue between the United States and Europe. NATO chief Mark Rutte said Trump's return will turbocharge defense spending and production at the alliance. And moving on, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar attended the inauguration ceremony in Washington, D.C. and also met Vivek Ramaswamy. Jaishankar held meetings with his counterparts from Australia and Japan also. In a social media post, Minister Jaishankar expressed happiness over his meeting with Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya. The two leaders reviewed progress in bilateral cooperation and also discussed developments related to the Quad. The ministers expressed satisfaction at the level, range and pace of exchanges between the two countries. They agreed to maintain strategic communication through frequent dialogue, including strategic dialogue and the 2+2 dialogue of foreign and defense ministers. In this context, EAM extended an invitation to Foreign Minister Iwaya to visit India. In another post, Dr. Jaishankar said he enjoyed his discussion on the state of the world with Australian counterpart Penny Wong. Quad grouping comprises India, Australia, Japan and the United States. And in the wide-ranging Oval Office interview, U.S. President Donald Trump spoke about his future plans on foreign policy. Talking to media, Trump said his foreign policy is going to be very simple, and that is to keep America safe.
Foreign policy is a big statement. I mean, my priority on foreign policy, it's going to be to keep America safe. Very simple.
Well, Trump is only the second president to win a second non-consecutive term in office, also said that all countries take advantage of the U.S., something he will seek to rectify during his second and last term.
We don't make any good deals in the U.S. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names because I don't want them to find out about it because they'll feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change that. But we're gonna do. I tell you what, our country has an amazing economic future. I really believe that. We're going to be taking a lot. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs.
Well, the U.S. could impose tariffs of 25% on Mexican and Canadian imports from February 1st. Donald Trump said as he signed a raft of executive orders just hours after his presidential inauguration.
Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
Also, Donald Trump promptly reversed Joe Biden's decision to remove Cuba from a blacklist of state sponsors of terrorism announced days earlier as part of a deal to free prisoners. The White House, in a statement hours after the inauguration, said that Trump resigned a decision on Cuba. This reversal came shortly after a prisoner exchange agreement had led to Cuba's removal from the list. And Donald Trump urged the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, to increase its defense spending and contribute more towards supporting Ukraine. He criticized the financial imbalance within the alliance, highlighting that the United States has spent $200 billion more on Ukraine than its NATO allies, despite being separated by an ocean from the ongoing conflict.
NATO has to pay more money. NATO has to pay 5%. We're in the Ukraine war by $200 billion more than NATO. It's ridiculous because it affects them a lot more. We have an ocean in between, and we've spent $200 billion more on Ukraine than NATO has spent, and they've got to equalize.
While Trump also spoke on heavy tariffs on China, he said he had a telephonic call with the Chinese President Xi.
Well, as you know, I put on large tariffs on China, and they've really been forced to leave them. And if we didn't leave them, you wouldn't have one steel mill that's open in this country because they were dumping massive amounts of steel. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars from China because they were unable to terminate the tariffs I put on China because it was too much money and the budgets didn't work, and other reasons too. No, I mean, we're going to have meetings and calls with President Xi. I spoke to President Xi last week, as you know. Did you know that? I had a very good phone call.
Well, Trump administration also has designated the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations as part of its intensified effort to combat drug trafficking along the U.S.-Mexico border.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign, and Mexico probably doesn't want that, but we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year, not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
Well, Trump on Monday rescinded executive orders that had promoted rights for LGBTQ+ people and racial minorities. He rescinded two orders, one advancing racial equity for undeserved communities and another combating discrimination based on gender identity or sexual orientation. Trump repealed other orders aimed at helping Black, Hispanic, Native American and Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Relatives of the three Israeli ex-hostages called for the release of the remaining 94 captives seized during Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack. Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawhid Hussain embarks on a 5-day state visit to China. And Peruvian paleontologists reveal a 9 million-year-old fossil. Stay with us to know more.
This week on Defense Dynamics, explore the Indian Army's game-changing all-terrain vehicles, including amphibious JSW, Gecko and Polaris ATVs. Also, what makes the Rafale marine fighter jets a transformative asset for the Indian Navy. Discover how INS Mumbai's participation in exercise La Perouse strengthens India's maritime strategy. Learn why Armenia's choice of India's Trajan artillery system signals a shift in defense partnerships. Watch Defense Dynamics at 8 p.m. IST, Wednesday, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DT India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana. Time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Trump signed series of executive orders on day one, pulls US out of World Health Organization and Paris Climate Accord, pardons nearly all charged in January 6th Capitol riot, says TikTok should be 50% owned by the US. Donald Trump promises golden age for US as he takes office as 47th president, repeals over 78 executive orders signed by his predecessor Joe Biden, including those supporting racial equity and combating discrimination against gay and transgender people. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the world leaders to offer congratulations to Donald Trump for the second term. Ukraine, Russia hope of just peace. Israel says best yet to come. Trump reiterates intent to take back Panama Canal, purchase Greenland and tariffs on neighbors, says Denmark will come along on Greenland even as Panama refutes any concessions on the matter. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel. Tense calm prevails on the third day of a truce in the territory. And World Economic Forum annual meeting begins in Davos. Ukraine-Russia conflict, Trump 2.0 and the rise of artificial intelligence in focus. India's Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw to attend the meet. And moving on, US President Donald Trump once again expressed his interest in Greenland while signing executive orders in the Oval Office on the first day of his second term. Trump said the United States needs to control Greenland to ensure international security.
Greenland is a wonderful place. We need it for international security. And I'm sure that Denmark will come along. I think it's costing them a lot of money to maintain it, to keep it.
Well, despite posing himself as a peacemaker in his second inaugural address, Trump has vowed that the United States would be taking back the Panama Canal.
And a very big thing is the Panama Canal. China controls the Panama Canal. What's that all about? They're not supposed to be good. When Jimmy Carter gave it, which was a terrible mistake, he didn't do it. He didn't give it to China. He gave it to Panama. And China controls the Panama Canal. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
Well, meanwhile, Panama on Monday rejected President Donald Trump's pledge that the United States would be taking back the Panama Canal, saying the key interoceanic waterway would remain under its control. Panama President Jose Raul Molino, in a statement on social media, said that he comprehensively rejected the words of President Donald Trump, dismissing Trump's claim that China is operating the canal. Panamanian president said the canal is and will remain Panama's. Meanwhile, union workers marched on Monday to the U.S. ambassador's residence in Panama City to protest the president's threat. Protesters holding Panama flags were chanting slogans, "Donald Trump, the Panama Canal is not for sale." The protesters said Panama does not accept Trump's declaration under any circumstances. Well, after signing executive orders, Trump and Melania Trump danced as the U.S. first couple at the Commander-in-Chief inaugural ball. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha also took to the stage, with a few service members also joining the two couples. U.S. Marine Band played a battle hymn of the Republic for the President and First Lady's dance. The Commander-in-Chief was the first of three inaugural balls that Trump is scheduled to attend Monday evening. Well, the U.S. President then attended the Liberty Ball with family members, where, speaking about his speech earlier, Trump revealed that he wanted to mince no words about certain issues in his speech, but was persuaded by colleagues to let the speech look more unifying. One such aspect was outgoing President Joe Biden's decision to pardon his son.
And we said a lot of things today. I think we got tremendous reviews on the speech. And, you know, I wanted to put in some really rough stuff. And all of my people, including JD, they said, let's not put that paragraph in. Oh, I love that paragraph. there was a paragraph on Biden shouldn't be pardoning his family. And we had a couple of others that were far worse than that. But they said, you know, the speech is so nice and it's so unifying. I said, all right, we won't do it. I'll do it about 2 hours later. So we've been doing it all night long.
Also, Trump appreciated hard work and dedication of his deputy, J.D. Vance, and his wife, Usha Vance.
And we have a great vice president, I want to tell you, and he's got a fantastic wife and helper, and she's done just incredible things for the party and for him. And I want to thank you. Great job. Great job. J.D. Vance, great job.
Well, Donald Trump was sworn in for a second non-consecutive term as the United States president on Monday and proclaimed that the golden age of America had begun. In a forceful inaugural address, the 47th president referred to January 20th as Liberation Day and declared that America's decline is over, vowing rapid changes. Trump returned to the White House aiming to reset U.S. policies across various areas such as immigration, tariffs and energy. Let's listen to some of his statements when he made in his inaugural speech.
The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied. We will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. I was saved by God to make America great again. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
Moreover, the U.S. Senate has unanimously confirmed Donald Trump's nominee, former Senator Marco Rubio, to serve as Secretary of State. Rubio is the first person of Hispanic origin to assume the position of top U.S. diplomat and Trump's first cabinet nominee to be confirmed by the Republican-led Senate. Rubio was confirmed 99-0 with several senators from the rival Democratic Party describing Rubio as a friend. One Senate seat was made vacant by the inauguration of Vice President J.D. Vance. Senator and the Republican chairman of the committee agreed to fast-track Rubio's nomination, which was cleared by the panel barely an hour before heading to the floor. Well, moving on, a plane carrying 116 deputies from the U.S. landed in Guatemala City, coinciding with the launch of the Guatemalan government's return home plan. The arrival comes at the time when President Trump signed a record number of executive orders publicly on Tuesday after being sworn the president of the USA a day ago. Guatemala anticipates receiving an additional 5 deputation flights this week, following a record number of expulsions last year. On similar grounds, the Venezuelan migrants too fear the uncertainty with the Trump government's mass deportation plan. Various migrants talked about their appointments being cancelled by the present U.S. government. One of the Venezuelan migrants said that the Trump government has got every right to alter the rules of the game without taking the migrants' account into consideration. Notably, the U.S. administration has taken a hardline stance on immigration, declaring a national emergency at the border and targeting illegal immigration. And some update from West Asia now as Gaza ceasefire deal enters into third day. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed that Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel. In a video message on Monday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked Trump for helping to secure the hostage release deal and once more pledged to return the remaining hostages. Earlier, 3 Israeli hostages, all women, were reunited with their families after Hamas fighters handed them over on Sunday, followed by the overnight release of 90 Palestinian prisoners. The first phase of the truce would last 6 weeks, during which the parties would negotiate a permanent ceasefire, which has not been agreed yet.
I believe that working together again, we will raise the U.S.-Israel alliance to even greater heights. I look forward to working with you to return the remaining hostages, to destroy Hamas's military capabilities and end its political rule in Gaza, and to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Meanwhile, the relatives of the 3 Israeli ex-hostages called for the release of the remaining 94 captives seized during Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack.
Please keep on fighting for the remaining 94 hostages who need to come home. There are too many other families who are waiting to hug their loved ones or bring them back for a proper burial. As I've been saying over the past number of months, the hostages in Gaza must have access to humanitarian aid while they are waiting to be released.
Well, 8 trucks have started to enter into Gaza hours after the start of the truce. Addressing UN Security Council on Monday, UN Chief Antonio Guterres said that 638 trucks have arrived in Gaza, with 300 of them headed to the north of the territory.
While many challenges lie ahead, we should appreciate the long overdue relief this moment provides for Palestinians in Gaza and the hostages reunited with their loved ones. We are doing our part to ensure the rapid scaling up of humanitarian deliveries. More than 630 trucks with humanitarian aid entered Gaza yesterday, at least 300 of them to the north.
While Colombian President Gustavo Petro declared a state of emergency amid guerrilla offensive in the country's northeast that killed 100 people. The president has vowed war, deploying thousands of soldiers to contain violence. The blood shed across 3 Colombian departments, from the remote Amazon jungle in the south to the mountainous northeastern border with Venezuela, has displaced almost 20,000 people so far. Some 5,000 troops are already deployed to the border area, hoping to contain some of the worst violence Colombia has seen in years. And South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol will appear for the first time on Tuesday at the Constitutional Court for hearings of his impeachment trial that will decide whether to remove him from office. South Korea was plunged into political chaos by Yoon's December 3rd martial law declaration, which lasted just 6 hours before lawmakers voted it down. They later impeached him, stripping him of his duties. He also became the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested in a criminal probe on insurrection grounds. The country's constitutional court is currently holding hearings to decide whether to uphold his impeachment, and his legal team said late on Monday that the suspended leader would attend. Yoon may be given the opportunity to speak in court and also may be questioned by a constitutional court justice. And Bangladesh Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tawhid Hussain has embarked on a 5-day state visit to China to strengthen Dhaka-Beijing relations. The advisor will hold bilateral talks with his Chinese counterpart in Beijing on Tuesday and meet with Chinese Communist Party leaders, deliver speeches at prominent institutes and engage with business representatives in Shanghai to attract investments. As Bangladesh and China mark 50 years of diplomatic ties, the visit aims to foster economic cooperation, expand trade and address pressing regional issues, including the Myanmar situation. And fire-weary Southern California was buffeted on Monday by dangerous winds, with forecasters warning of an extremely critical risk in a region already staggering from the devastation of horrifying blazes. Firefighters continue to make progress, snuffling out fires that ravaged 40,000 acres in the Los Angeles area after erupting on January 7th and killing at least 27 people. But a return of the hurricane-force winds, including some gusting up to 88 miles threaten more danger. National Weather Service says any fires that form could grow explosively, and so this is a particularly dangerous situation. The largest conflagration, the Palisades fire, was 59% contained by Monday, and the area affected by evacuation orders has now shrunk to effectively match the fire's footprint. The 18 fire, which wrecked a large part of the Atladena area, was 87% contained. Donald Trump has said that he will be visiting the fire-ravaged areas at the end of the week. Well, Peruvian paleontologists have revealed a 9 million-year-old fossil belonging to an ancestor of the great white shark. The nearly complete Cosmopolidotus hastilis fossil was found some 235 kilometers south of Lima in Peru's Pisco Basin, a hot desert area. Paleontologist Mario Urbina noted that as anchovies did not yet exist when the shark roamed the open seas and oceans, sardines formed a staple diet for marine predators. Time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. The 2025 World Economic Forum annual meeting is underway in Davos, Switzerland, calling for global cooperation amid global uncertainty. During the 5-day-long meeting, around 3,000 leaders from over 130 countries will discuss innovative strategies to revitalize growth, harness transformative technologies, empower individuals and communities, and protect the planet and drive collaboration. Well, India is sending its biggest ever contingent this time, comprising 5 union ministers, including IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. He will be holding a detailed discussion about inclusive growth, about investment in social, physical and digital infrastructure, and on democratizing technology. His visit highlights India's commitment to driving inclusive growth and transformative development as envisioned by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And now some news from the Mahakumbh, the largest religious congregation in the world. Well, as we know, the Mahakumbh festival is currently underway in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj, and each day is witnessing a record number of devotees who are taking the holy dip at Triveni Sangam. Many cultural events are also being lined up at various venues to entertain the visitors. Well, did you know that taking a holy dip in Triveni Sangam at the Mahakumbh can not only purify your body but bring utmost peace to your soul as well? Well, the devotees from different countries are experiencing similar energy and are delighted to be a part of Mahakumbh 2025. Deepika Meheto has more on this.
Mahakumbh 2025 is witnessing the largest congregation of devotees in Prayagraj who are coming here from across the globe. The purpose of the visitors is to perform meditation and take the holy dip in Triveni Sangam, which is the confluence of rivers Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati. The festival of Mahakumbh is also an example of unity in diversity. The foreign devotees every day take the holy dip, perform holy rituals, chant Hari Naam or God's name and enjoy the festival of faith and devotion. Various devotees from Russia believe that taking the holy dip for 30 minutes can eradicate all their diseases.
After take bath, I feel very well. So much energy, become from the water. The water is very important for the human body. My wife usually she take around 30 minutes. She sit and stay 30 minutes on water because this is very good for health.
Not only does the holy dip provide health benefits to the devotees, but also brings them a lot of peace and joy as they get immersed in spiritualism.
You took the holy dip for the entire 30-minute slot. Tell us the importance.
This is important because clean psychical body. We have physical body and we have psychical body. This is recommendation Dr. Olega Tarsanova. After this, after clean psychical body, no, you cannot be never sick.
I feel also in connection and harmony with the instruction of our spiritual master from Srila Prabhupada, because one of the angas of bhakti is to take bath in the holy river.
If you not have Ganga near, you need chant Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
The foreign devotees also appealed everyone to participate in this festival, and if they can't come in person, then they should chant the name of God during this auspicious period of Mahakumbh from their respective locations.
We are at the Triveni Sangam, which is the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and mythical Saraswati, and foreign delegates are continuously coming in to take the holy dip. They say that a 30-minute dip really purifies the body, mind and soul, and it is helpful for keeping one away from sickness as per their doctor. With camera person Shiv Suman, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Triveni Sangam, Prayagraj.
And moving on now, the 76th Republic Day of India will have cadets from 18 friendly nations. On Monday, the Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, interacted with 144 cadets from different nations. Visiting India for the first time, these cadets have had the opportunity to explore a glimpse of Indian culture and history. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo spoke to the cadets from UK to find out more.
Now here at the NCC parade camp, I have a lot of friendly countries, and this contingent is from the United Kingdom. I have Major Andy, who's leading the contingent of 12. Major Andy, how has been your experience first?
It's been pretty fantastic. The cadets have really enjoyed their time in India so far. They've got to do some quite magical things, meet some pretty amazing friends that they're going to have for their whole life, and they've really had a true experience from this exchange.
Lieutenant Amy, is it the first time that the United Kingdom is participating?
So this isn't the first time for the United Kingdom. They do participate every year, but this is a new selection of group. So they select different cadets and Cadet Force adult volunteers to join every year.
What did you learn during your stay here?
I've learned a lot about the NCC, how they're a little bit different to us, and a lot about all the other cadets from different countries, all the other delegations. We've also been learning a lot about their cultures, languages, etc., and trading lots of nice memorabilia with them.
Did you interact with the Indian cadets also?
Yeah, I have interacted a lot with them, and I've made some quite good friends from there as well.
So is it your first visit, and what memories are you taking back?
Yes, sir, it's my first visit, and I'm taking back the memories of meeting so many cadets from different countries and trying lots of new food, different culture, and a lot of history here in India.
Did you find anything different that you heard there in UK and India is different? What difference did you find?
I know that there's a lot of history that I personally haven't learnt about at school or in England myself, but it is very interesting to learn about here, and I know that India is very proud of their culture.
They are also very happy, and with good memories they are going back to their country. With cameraman Ashish in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Well, you're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. The International Inter-University J Nepal Cup tournament has kicked off in Kathmandu on Monday. The T20 cricket tournament was inaugurated by the first president of Nepal, Dr. Ram Baran Yadav. The J Cup is contested by 8 universities from India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka. The inaugural session was attended by senior political leaders, members of the Nepal Students' Union, members of the Cricket Association of Nepal, 3 universities from India, that is Delhi University, University, Lucknow University and Bhimrao Ambedkar University are participating in the tournament. University of Dhaka from Bangladesh and 4 other universities from Nepal are also taking part. The final will be held on the 28th of January. And two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen will spearhead the India's challenge at the Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament, which begins in Jakarta on Tuesday with qualifiers. PV Sindhu will face Nguyen Thoi Lin of Vietnam in her tournament opener on Wednesday. Akarshi Kashyap, Anupam Upadhyay and Rakshita Ramraj are also in the women's single draw. Lakshya Sen, who was eliminated in the first round of both the Malaysia and India Open earlier this month, will face Japan's Takuma Obayashi in his opening match. Priyanshu Rajawat and Kiran George are also part of India's charge in men's single. In the men's double event, Chirag Shetty and Satwik Raj Rankareddy will be India's only challenge. India's sole representative in the women double section are Ashwini Ponnappa and Tanisha Crasto. Tanisha Crasto is also part of the mixed double draw with Dhruv Kapila. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.